What's up guys, the Car Anarchist here, and today I'm gonna tell you exactly why the Rimac Nevera is a complete fucking failure. I'm sure this video will piss off some Rimac fanboys, so let me say this, I am not a Rimac hater, I'm just calling out the truth. If the Nevera came from any other brand, I would say the same thing. Let's go. So first, we have to get something out of the way. Saying that the Rimac Nevera is a failure is not an opinion, it's a fact. The Rimac Nevera is a failure. Why is it a fact? Very simple. Rimac was planning to produce 150 Neveras, and how many have they sold so far? No more than 50 cars. Yeah, they haven't even sold half, bro, which means that the desire simply isn't there. Now that we got this straight, we can continue on with the video. Let's go through the full breakdown of why the Nevera is a failure. First, we will analyze it based on what I like to call the 3 hypercar pillars. So part 1, we have an individual analysis in each pillar, looks, excitement value, and performance. And then on part 2, after the individual analysis, we're going to discuss the real problem with the Nevera and why it actually failed. And as a bonus, I'm gonna tell you why Matty Rimac is wrong about why he thinks the Nevera failed. So we start with hypercar pillar number 1, looks. Starting with the front, yeah, it looks okay. Definitely not bad, but far from anything special. The first thing that comes to mind when you look at the Nevera is that it does indeed have that electric car look and vibe to it. Even if you didn't know it was electric, you could probably guess it just by looking at it. And let me be honest, I don't think that's a good thing. If I was going to build an electric hypercar, I would try my best to not make it look like an electric vehicle. This is the exact opposite of the vision Rimac has for the Nevera, in which they want to embrace the fact that it's electric and purposely designed it to look different from internal combustion cars. The idea sounds great, but there is just one problem. There is not a single electric car that looks better than its ICE counterpart. No exceptions. Now from the side, it's the same story. It doesn't look bad by any stretch, but again, it just lacks any emotion. Remember guys, this is a $2 million car. Imagine paying $2 million for a car that will look like this when you walk towards it to get in. Overall, it looks too clinical and lacks that exuberance and outrageousness that you would expect even from a normal supercar. There are so many cars on the market with insane side profiles, which makes the Nevera underwhelming to say the least. Bro, the rear of the Nevera looks so boring. Normally the rear is the shot that most supercars and hypercars look the craziest because they adopt that philosophy where you make the front look more tamed and leave all the aggressiveness for the rear. The Koenigsegg Regera is like that, for example. But yeah, it looks like the rear of a car that's definitely electric, and again, that's not a compliment. So to recap, I'm just gonna say this. The design of the Nevera is boring as hell, bro. There is not a single angle that is exciting or that evokes any sort of emotion. It gets even worse when you remember that this is supposed to be a hypercar and that you are paying $2 million for it. Normally in a car of this category, there's always some angle that you are like, whoa, that looks cool, or whoa, that looks outrageous, but not with the Nevera. It looks way too clinical and lifeless. You know when you eat something that's supposed to be delicious, but it tastes like nothing because the chef forgot to put salt? That's exactly what it's like to look at the Nevera. And now we move on to hypercar pillar number 2, excitement value. For the excitement value, we're going to be taking a look at the driving setup, cool factor, and sound check. So starting with the driving setup. Yeah, there isn't much to say here. This is where I would normally talk about transmission, engine, turbos, etc. But with the Nevera, all we will get is that it's fully electric, all-wheel drive, and weighs as much as your mother-in-law after eating 3 pizzas. On paper, it sounds like exactly what you're thinking. Boring as fuck, bro. Forget about straight line performance. Other than that, would you bet that it is an exciting car to drive compared to other internal combustion hypercars or even normal supercars? Probably not. And then we have cool factor. Let's be honest here, a huge component of buying an exotic car is to look cool and make a statement amongst other people who like cars. Unfortunately, I think the cool factor of the Nevera is very low considering its price point and category. Think about this hypothetical scenario. Imagine the chaos that you would make if you stopped at a gas station to fill up a Koenigsegg Jesko, Regera, Agera RS, any model. The unique and outrageous design of a Koenigsegg would not only attract other people, but you would also actually have interesting things to say about the car. In the end of the day, exotic cars are a huge conversation piece between men. On the other hand, we know the Nevera is electric and doesn't need gas, but in the same hypothetical scenario, very few people would be interested in your car, and to the few that would, you wouldn't have much to say. Yeah, you could say that it has 2000 horsepower and broke a bunch of acceleration records, but let's be honest, are these things actually exciting to talk about and discuss when it comes to the car world? No. And then sound check. I'm obviously trolling, guys, but come on, exhaust sound is overrated and is not that important. I guess that it is. Now we have arrived at hypercar pillar number 3, performance. So yeah, we all know that in terms of pure straight line acceleration, there isn't anything that beats the Nevera at speeds below 300 kph. 0 to 200 in 4.4 is absolutely insane, and that quarter mile time of 8.26 is outrageous. What about cornering? Well, if a car with this much acceleration lapped the Nürburgring at over 7 minutes, then it's safe to say that cornering isn't particularly amazing, and that's definitely one of the consequences of being too heavy and not having much downforce. It's safe to say, in terms of performance, the Nevera is not the complete package, it's pretty much all straight line speed. Now that we analyzed the Nevera in each individual pillar, let's finally talk about why it's a failure. So let's recap. The Nevera has underwhelming looks and underwhelming excitement value compared to other hypercars, but somewhat excels at performance with insane straight line speed. The problem is that the 3 hypercar pillars have a hierarchy. They are not all equally as important. Whether we like to admit it or not, looks is more important than excitement value, and excitement value is more important than performance, which means the Nevera's biggest strength, performance, is actually a lot less relevant in terms of desirability than you think. Here are 2 examples of why this hierarchy is true. If a car is exciting to drive but looks like shit, nobody cares. Also, if a car has extreme performance but is boring, then also nobody cares, which is exactly where the Nevera falls. Let's think about this hypothetical scenario. Imagine that you, a car enthusiast, had $2 million to buy a sports car / supercar / hypercar, whatever. Why the fuck would anyone choose the Nevera, bro? People forget that exotic cars is not about logic and never will be. It's purely about emotion. And a hypercar in its essence should be the ultimate level of emotional impact and desire when it comes to cars. Can you actually imagine someone waking up one day and saying, "Man, my dream car is a Rimac Nevera"? No one, bro, no one. Do you think that there are teenagers around the world with a poster of a Nevera hanging on their wall? Nope. That's why the Nevera failed, because it doesn't evoke fucking emotion. It's that simple. Are people going to buy the Nevera because of its looks? No. Are people going to buy the Nevera because it's exciting to drive? No. If I was going to buy the Nevera because of its straight line acceleration, then I would rather buy a Tesla for 1/20th of the price and save the rest of the money without even thinking twice. I know the Nevera is a lot quicker than a Tesla, but not in the real world where you would actually feel the acceleration. To wrap this point, I'm just gonna say this. I would personally only buy a Nevera if I was a billionaire that already had all the other supercars / hypercars and I didn't know what other car to buy. I'm just being straight up. Point 2 of why the Nevera is a failure, let me ask you this. If you had the opportunity to take either a Rimac Nevera or a GT3 RS for a 10-minute drive, how many of you would choose the Nevera? Yup, that pretty much sums everything up. And remember, a GT3 RS costs 1/8 of a Nevera. Now let me explain why Mate is wrong about why he thinks the Nevera failed. Mate said in an interview, the reason is that electric cars have gone too mainstream, so they stopped being cool and different, which affected the Nevera's desirability directly. Well, that's true, but that's not the real problem. Even if all the other electric cars didn't exist, the people with the sort of money to buy a Nevera would still have to choose it over other internal combustion hypercars, which means the Nevera would still be the least obvious choice. Don't get me wrong, I do think that if electric cars weren't so mainstream, the Nevera would indeed sell more, but I just don't think it would sell that much more. Know what I mean? Maybe it would have sold half of the cars and not a third, which is the current situation, but still wouldn't have solved the problem. If you guys enjoyed this video and wanna see more, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. The Car Anarchist, I'm out.